Hello, everyone. Center here, and it's time for more Guild Wars 1, like usual. And, it's also time to retrieve some Royal Scribes papers from the Tengu and Stingray Strand. Somewhere about there. What I'm trying to decide is if it would be easier to go from Sanctum K. I don't think so. Oh man, this outpost is still laggy. Wow. FPS is really tanking there. Anyway, I hope everyone is doing well. I myself have been doing mostly fine. Had a regular dental checkup yesterday, and the dentist said my teeth looked good, so that's always a nice thing to hear. Try to figure out where I want this microphone. I think Winter's Day stuff has started, by the way. I'm just not in a particular rush to do it here. I thought that might happen. Now we've got some dudes behind us too. So my overall plan for today is to start off by doing some of these skill quests. Happen to be here. I would like to potentially do the desert missions as well. Obviously, I've gotten elite skills on this character, but that's from other campaigns. So picking up Marksman's Wager, I think it is, and yeah, they're spamming Chillblains like normal. But picking up Marksman's Wager and Wander's Resilience, and a lot of links around here. And then making my way over to... Oh. All sorts of stuff in the Shiver Peaks. In particular, I'm interested in getting Punishing Shot, which... The thing that's tricky about that... Hey, Clean Star and Salty Grease, good to see you. Is whether or not I want to... Because the boss spawn location for the boss that has Punishing Shot is shared, if I recall correctly, with the boss that has Earthshaker. And... I could have good mods on it. And I'm not entirely certain if I will want to bring two Capsigs so that way I can get both at the same time. Or at least have the potential for it. The chances that I want Earthshaker on this character are certainly non-zero, but the chances that I want it are also not that high. Like, it's an okay skill for a Bunny Thumper to use, but there's other ones, and it's not like I'm trying to build characters that way, so... the main reason to do that is it saves me a trip on my warrior to get Earthshaker, but I will eventually want Earthshaker on my warrior, so it doesn't really feel like it saves all that much, so... I probably won't, but it's certainly something I've been considering a little bit. This really is in kind of the mid spot between Fisherman's Haven and Sanctum K, isn't it? Okay, have a good food time, Salty Grease. But first steps first is getting through the Crystal Desert. What am I doing, actually? this. Yeah, so that's gonna be the Crystal Desert through there. Southern Shiver Peaks, Ring of Fire. Abnormal Seed. By the way, if everyone remembers in the last stream, when I went to the traders, what was I wanting to... Was it last stream that it happened? No, I think it was when I was playing on Sunday, on my Sunday play group. Wow, that's pretty good, actually. Kind of weird. Good enough that I'm going to actually hang on to it and potentially use it on Gwen. Its damage is mediocre, or like 4 points off max sort of thing on the top end. But like, its mods are fine. But anyway, there was a weird instance where all of the traders, so I guess it wasn't on stream, as I played so much Guild Wars this past like week, and only part of it was actually on stream. But anyway, the point that I'm getting to, slowly but surely, as I drink some water, is that hang on, I want to select Lost Princess. Oh, guess that one won't guide me. But anyway, yeah, because I streamed on Wednesday for the thing, Reforge's release, and then I did my normal Friday stream, and then I played with my normal Sunday group, and then I finally was able to play a little bit with a friend on Monday. But anyway, it was on that Sunday playgroup time that we were like, hey, I want to sell some stuff to these traders. Wait, why are the traders, like some runes and stuff, I want to check rune prices. Why are the traders completely empty? Not just the rune trader. No. That'd be weird enough. But also the material traders. And the dye trader. And even the scroll trader. This doesn't make any sense. What's going on here? Did somebody with extremely deep pockets really buy out all of the traders? That doesn't seem at all reasonable. Was this some sort of coordinated thing? No. What turns out, later posted by SCW, Stephen Clark Wilson, the guy in charge of Guild Wars 1, to the Reddit. Apparently, there was like 6... Yeah, Stephen C. There was 6 things that are checked of like if they're at the traders, and if their values change more like outside of like more than a certain amount or outside of a certain range within a certain period of time, then it just locks down all of the traders. I guess they're thinking like, oh, this is like an anti-hacking thing or something. I don't know. But apparently the market movements that have been brought about by the Reforged update have somehow managed to trigger that code. To the best of my knowledge, it has never happened before in the entire history of the game. So, yeah. That was why all the traders were locked out. Which I think is fascinating. As inconvenient as it was to not be able to do anything with traders, to know that, oh wait, no, some like extremely obscure code just turn them all off. Absolutely wild. Just absolutely wild. I think you can go along the beach here. I don't know. I don't usually go this direction, so I'm not used to looking at it from this way. That was a good barrage, though. I'll tell you what. Acolyte Jin also getting some good barrages in. I do want to set up a better, or like a good recurve bow and a good short bow. But I don't have a whole lot of weapon mods. There's a Grand Drake over there, which is a great name. Little farming village. Boy, it's starting to portmanteau those words, and that wouldn't make any sense. Let's fight a Grand Drake. It's only level 20. Somebody else got that Lorb. Ooh. Spiked Crest. Good stuff. Some rocks in the water. I like the little coral things underneath. Pretty neat. Looks like we can't actually go around there, so we have to either go around... This is what? Tears of the Fallen. Does this even go over there? Huh. Okay, looks like you actually... You know what? Let's just go around this lake. Why not? Why not do something I don't normally do? I can't think of a good reason. Make things interesting. Look, there's David Longston. Somebody needs to tell ArenaNet that David is spelt with an I, typically not an E. Because I'm pretty sure that's the second Dave we've had. I mean, maybe it's spelt this way in the Tyria, though. Could be. Could be. Dave Logston. What do you got going on? I mean, that is a 15 over 50 bow. But you're asking me to sacrifice a 8 to 12 plant fibers for it? Hardly worth. There's a nice 2020 protective icon. But it's obviously not max, so who cares? I don't. I want to salvage my seeds, thank you very much. Also, the mini-map clearly does not extend very far. You can see this region right up here. Wonder if they have heat maps of where players like to go. Be very interesting to see that information. I feel like the big thing that you'd glean from it is good spot to hide NPCs. Or other, like, goodies, you know? Ooh. More scales. I don't want to compare the Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2 Splinter weapon icons. They feel like they're conceptually fairly similar, but the Guild Wars 2 one is a little bit more detailed and a little bit more green. Yeah, 3 whole plant fibers from that abnormal seed. Use scales from that, but it's worth it. Scales are not a super common crafting material. I hear you, Fog Nightmare, and I raise you being shot by my bow. Man, Barrage plus Splinter Weapon feels so good when enemies are bunched up. And does, like, nothing when they're not. Actually, pretty far over. I need to go over to there. Well, that's not going to be any good for me. You know, this bar would be great to have just the prominence or whatever it is. The somebody was mentioning it the other day, but the expertise sword with just like instead of whirling defense, the symbolic strike. The symbolic strike, you know, deal plus 24 damage, which is perfectly acceptable. Like that skill's good at like 2 signets and pretty strong at 3 and absolutely bonkers at 4. Of course, by the time you're getting 4 signets on your bar, you've probably compromised it quite a bit in order to be able to make that happen. Resurrection Signet is definitely a big help. Antidote Signet is good for that too. There's a bunch of Mesmer ones actually that work really well. Signet of Disenchantment, for example, if you're going heavy into Adrenaline, is really good on Warrior. Probably better on Warrior than or Paragon than it is actually on more Warrior than Paragon though, but on than on Mesmer because it drains all of your energy. Probably scatter some of those sort of utility skills around to where they're a bit more useful. It's like the challenge of where am I going to get ritualist skills since I don't have a primary ritualist. I don't feel that... My goal is to unlock all skills, not get all the profession skills on each of my characters, you know? So, like, when I'm thinking about Writ, like... Where am I going to want to get its skills and things like that? Something for me to figure out at some point down the line. Wow, those guys are weak. Something you don't get as much in Guild Wars 2 because of the way the level scaling works. You still get it a bit when you go to lower level areas, but Guild Wars 1 you definitely get the, oh, this enemy is weak and just dies like super fast. Or at least you can. Obviously, Mesmers don't get that as much, but... Just how it goes. The Black Curtain. Pretty close to TOA now. Yeah, because Divinity's Reach is like right up here. This area. Where it gets established. Good old follow up with an interrupt and then interrupt or healing skill. Guess those are the same damage, isn't it? Interesting. I think I have Jin runed more or less the same way I'm runed. So obviously this area becomes God Lost Swamp in Guild Wars 2. And actually has old school style, like Guild Wars 1 style statues of the gods, which they are not always great about doing, much to my annoyance. Looks like we got favor. 41 minutes of it remaining, which is strong. Hey, Salma. They changed her. She used to just have the normal, like, female Crichton appearance, but they changed it with Warren Kryta. I would like to grab this skill. This is also new. Just chuck Gwen and Talcora in my party for now. Actually, while I'm here, Gwen. Yeah, I'm gonna give you this cane. Enjoy. This helps with her inspiration spells, of which she's got a few. Anyway. How do you tell how long we have favor? I walked into town and a little message popped up that said 41 minutes of favor of the gods remaining. But you can also use the /favor command and it will tell you how many, whether or not we have favor and if we do, how long we've got left. And if we don't have favor, it'll tell you how many achievements need to be accomplished in order to be able to gain favor. You can tell you we have favor of the gods if when you see one of the god statues, it's in its like awakened state. It's actually pretty interesting. There are like awakening animations for those statues. So I remember once when I was hanging out in Serenity Temple, seeing it happen, like on stream, the statue of Dwayna, like animating because we'd gotten favor. And I think there's a clip on it on my channel. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of really useful commands. It's not a bad idea to check the wiki page for some of those things. It's rare. You have to, like, they have to be down and you have to be in a position to see them when it happens. But Dwayna was especially, like, a lot going on when it animated. Because obviously it goes from being a, like, hunk of, like, several hunks of stone on the ground to getting up. So, like, there's a whole animation with, like, lightning striking it and it starting to rise and stuff. It's pretty dramatic. And I'd never seen it before that stream either. It would be neat if they had a good way of actually viewing them, because they are pretty cool. But my party's not too large for Temple of Ages. Okay, I'm going to kick those two because I'm going to go back to Fisherman's Haven after this. But I will go ahead and grab a couple of skills here. To the Limit actually could be quite useful. Choking Gas has a build. I'm going to have to go to Mineral Springs to be able to make that build too. I'm not sure how much I feel. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay, Watchman Rod. I talked with her. Thank you for Edge of Extinction. I already had Balance Stance. Savage Slash is a nice pickup. If I use a sword, that's definitely a skill that I'd like to have available as a ranger. Concussion Shot is one that I sometimes do want. Excuse me there. It's a bit expensive, so it must go on the right build, and it does require you to actually, like, hit to function, but with a 5-second recharge, it works pretty well. It does want you to have a lot of expertise, though. You're full salty grease. Are you full of salty grease? The joke presented itself. I had to take it. Okay. That would be bacon. Yeah, it would be bacon. Had a hot Italian sub from Firehouse. All right. I'm just trying to decide where I want to go next. Did I turn in? Hang on. I need to turn in Seeking Shelter, but Okay. Ghostly Vengeance. So I'm not seeing other ones, so I definitely turn in the wedding one. Yeah, I know how that goes. I for a long time, like when I first started playing Guild Wars, I was using King Templar, and the entire reason why I was using it was because I had seen a font trick, for lack of a better word, in StarCraft on some random map that I had gotten from somewhere that did a thing where if you like use certain characters, you can make it like look like fancy versions of letters. And so like left square bracket, right curly bracket made a K, and apostrophe left square bracket, right square bracket, no, right square bracket, left square bracket, apostrophe made a T. So like I used that as a username in StarCraft, and because I could make it look fancy like that, and I I stopped using that one after a while, but yeah. So if I go into like team chat here, um, it was like this. I don't know, probably can't see it because it's really small, but that's how I use that username. Santier has been a much better username in that it's much more unique. Although there's a Spanish word that conjugates oddly, where Santier would be like a correct conjugation more or something like that. That it sometimes has gotten confused for. Okay. Do I still have Rex that I made for the prof playthrough? I do, but on my main account, not my alt account. Yeah, because Rex Templaris is a reference to my first Guild Wars 1 character, which was and I think I said that in the playthrough, but was a Elementalist Warrior. And at some point I did delete that character. I have all of my other ones, but... well, that's not entirely true. I had a character that I named Erithos Yggdrasil off of Mythos from Tales of Symphonia. That was the inspiration for that. That I deleted as a ranger and remade as a necromancer. So, some of those earliest characters... Saintier of the Void is my oldest surviving character in my main account. But I did the slow playthrough on my main, so... Yeah, Tales of Symphonia has a good soundtrack, but Tales of Symphonia is, like... It's a game that really struck me from a storytelling perspective, because it has a lot of... it did a lot of things that I had not encountered before. And in particular, there's one spot where there's a conversation that's like 4 layers deep or something crazy. Like, I remember when my sister and I like replayed it. So we played through it, and then we replayed it for the first time that we were playing it, and we got to that conversation, and we're like, oh, it's talking about this thing that we didn't even realize. And then like we played it a third time, and we're like, oh wait, no, it's even deeper than that. And I feel like that happened at least once more. But I haven't played that game in quite some time now, but I've kind of been wanting to dig back into it. Anyway, there's a skill quest that I want to double check here. List of skill acquisition quests. Okay. Can't do those ones. Pretty sure I've done these. Graven Images. Hot Springs Murders. And Undead Hordes. I did... I think all of these ones in the Meguma Jungle. Southwestern Creta, yeah, I just did those ones. Crystal Desert, Into the Unknown. I should have Fear Me and Winnowing off of that. I'm just double checking skill quests here. Yeah, so there's Fear Me. That's right, because the HD icon is weirdly dark. Ghostly Vengeance I'm still doing. That one is a little bit less exciting. The Forgotten Ones, that's the one I wanted to check. I can't do Misplaced Sword. And a Bladed Betrothal is one that I already did. Okay, so the last one here is going to be the Forgotten Ones. Where do I get this one? Destiny's Gorge. Okay, I need to go to Destiny's Gorge and grab it then. Okay, I need you, Phipps. Yeah, because that would also be useful just to have. But he's down over here. Actually, I'm gonna try leaving from here. There's a teleporter right. Well, that zoom out didn't help. There's a teleporter right here. It looks like from the map that I kind of want to check out. I'm a little concerned about Hydras. I just noticed that Vex portrait over here blinks, which makes sense because it's animated, probably in an idle pose. I'm guessing they just have the model a second copy of the model in idle cut off at that point, maybe? I'm not quite sure how they're doing those portraits. Because I don't think they use the actual gameplay model. They might. It might be possible. Well, I mean, it would just be rendered a second time anyway, so they can just apply a different thing to it. It just startled me for a moment to see that his eyes blink out of the corner of my vision. For some reason, I hadn't noticed that before, and now I am, and now I can't unsee that. So, I guess, well, that was unfortunate. You can't interrupt it with crap with a longbow if you don't have support for it. Man, getting my barrage diverted is rough. Y is select target. Okay. So I probably need to go up there and then around, I think. Well, good. We are giving this Windcaster the business end of our attacks, as it deserves. Man, what a weird spot, like, with these things here. I don't know. I remember seeing that before and being like, this is odd. Blade hand, bowmaster. Okay. I'm most concerned about their monks and mesmers, aka their casters, which is what I guess people are generally going to be most worried about. Nothing like using shield stance and then immediately using sprint. There's literally no reason to use body shot if they don't have conditions on them. Does as much damage as barrage, but barrage recharges instantly. Well, and 1 second, but close enough. You're soaking in the info? Oh, yeah, sure. Man, that was a huge project. What a wild thing. I think they've been getting an uptick in views, too. I don't pay super close attention because, like, YouTube's just kind of a side hobby thing for me, but it's always interesting to see stuff sort of go. And things like the slow playthrough and, I want to target that. And the skill review videos have just always had, like, slow but steady, like, accumulation of views. Certainly appreciate it. I'm certainly glad that people are finding them interesting. Something that feels good about distracting shot, interrupting a diversion. Yeah, look at these weird things. Like, what am I supposed to make of these? They have a break in the middle, but you can walk and stand on them. They look like alpha assets or beta assets. You've seen some of those. Like, just the art style is just different. It's something about the resolution of the textures and other things, but it's just very bizarre. And they really feel like they've been left here from some earlier build, and they just never took them out. What is this, like a debate arena in the middle of the desert for no freaking obvious reason? Like, I have no idea what purpose this is serving. Well, between me and Jenna, I guess we got the stuff interrupted. Yeah, there's the teleporter I'm looking for. Yeah, it doesn't do much to me, relatively speaking, but it certainly hurts everyone else a good bit. What'll be really interesting is if I need to release updates to the to those videos. Like if they change anything or add skills or who knows what. Done. Okay. Worn Drake Spur. What do you want? Desiccated Hydro Claws. It's an Inspiration 2020 thing. I want... Ooh, this short bow would actually not be terrible. Also be really funny to ping Ascalon short bow. 15 over 50. Neat. Okay, well, there's better ways to get bows. I do want a short bow at some point in time. Yeah, it totally worked as a path around. Normally, I've gone from Augury Rock and around, but this totally worked out. Well, Hydras are a bit of a menace, but we're dealing. Well, any meteor I can stop is good for my party. My philosophy. That's a place to have to go vanquish. I'm assuming you did the other one too. Tasca's Demise? I want to say. Good. My knowledge is not failing me. Man, look at that view. Love me the Crystal Desert. Yes, thank you. Definitely a skill that I might see myself using from time to time. Damage is a little bit low and stuff, but it can't be blocked. And it has a quick activation time, so those are both nice. Honestly, I'm going to put it on instead of Whirling Defense. I think the other one was Defensive Stance that I got from that, but that one is already unlocked. Yeah, the other one that's a potential problem on Toscas, however we want to pronounce that. Demise is, let's swap these, is that I did once have some Tengu get stuck on that one. And that prevented me from finishing the Vanquish. Like, they got stuck on a chest. That was, like, outside of the map area, like on the other side of the portal to Mineral Springs. So, yeah. And if there's a chest there that they get stuck on, you can be just out of luck. And that's definitely go up to there first. Okay. I want to go this way, I think. More coming around the corner. Here they come. Coming around the corner. Here they come. Don't want to die to Hydras. Don't want to die to Hydras. Here they come around the corner to blast me. With pyromancy. Okay, that's not an area we go down. You could make Vanquishing Mineral Springs really awful and have the Titan quests on you. One advantage of doing it is it does give you an opportunity to infuse another set of armor if you want. Yeah, I generally don't as well. I think that there's something that people do to make some zone like have one enemy in it and super easy or something. I don't remember which one though. Yeah, there you go. Okay, I guess we're going to the Scar now, because that's how I've ended up proceeding. I don't know why I'm looking at these, but it's kind of interesting. It's at the point where like everything's a little bit standard. Yeah. I think like there's a way to get Buck Deck Byway really low on enemies or something. Anyway, I'm gonna make my way over to Thirsty River in an unusual path, so I'm gonna get lost like crazy because I don't usually go this way. I usually travel from Destiny's Gorge. I know. It really does feel that way, doesn't it? Crystal Desert. Come here, get lost, die of thirst. It's kind of poor marketing, though. This teleporter does not have activation thingies. It might just be an exit. Don't think that really matters, but yeah, it doesn't have teleportation thingies. I don't even know if it hooks up to anything. I want to think of it. Like, I know loosely where I'm trying to go. I'm trying to curve along the southern edge here. Ah, Zaishin Vanquish Week. That's always really nice. I haven't gone vanquishing in quite some time. Part of me, like, wants to go vanquish Ascalonian zones for the nostalgia. I don't know. I like Ascalon a lot. And vanquishing gives a good excuse to go hang out there. It does kind of feel best to bundle it with the actual vanquishization quest, though. Okay. I don't want to deal with these guys, but they're probably going to want to deal with me, which is not really ideal. I was right. Okay. We don't... We're just going to ignore. Okay, I'm going to get rid of this bleeding. I don't know what Dunkoro is on, but apparently he's not on the heal Scientier train. Okay, let's cancel that flag. I think I'm actually getting pretty close to where I want to be. It's a funny name. Reminds me, the other day I was in Ascalon City, I guess with my friend on Monday, and I didn't see Cheeto's descendant, and I'm like, where'd he go? And then I saw him pop in. I'm like, you're back. Apparently I was playing with new players. That's cool. Just such a staple of Ascalon City, you know? I want to go... Okay, well, I don't want to go down to that because I can't. Yeah. Yeah, I think I was using the cat ear. Headpiece. I just feel like I always see him whenever I go to Ascalon City, so it's weird to go to Ascalon City and not see him. Okay. This way and then kind of around. Ooh, that was a good one. Probably terrible. Let's see if I'm right. Yep, that's terrible. It is worth 152 gold, so at least that. It has that going for it. Ooh, a little bit of a weird path, isn't it? What if I'll make the map screen my thumbnail sometime? That would be interesting. Not sure why I would, though. Hmm. Cedric Rogers. Healing Spring is a trap, so it's easily interrupted. That's not really a property that's put on skills very often. Apparently I needed to walk forward a few more steps. Okay. Red dye. That's nice to be able to put in my collection. Iron ingots, you say? Iron ingots, you say? What's this air staff salvage into? Okay, it's just wood. I thought there might be some chance, because it has a slightly metallic look to it, that it would be metal, but it was in fact not. Alrighty then. I'm just trying to decide if I want to... You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and do this now, because why not? I'm going to drop Antidote Signet for Signet of Capture. And let's just go ahead and do Thirsty River. Warrior's Endurance. Good skill, not something I'm going to use. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Rotwing's Recurve Bow, though. I think I want the recurve properties, even though I'm not really using this super well. Should have a Vampire Corn Bow, a Zealous Short Bow, a Crippling Recurve Bow, Vampire Corn Bow. Ignore longbows. I mean, you can use longbows, but... I just have a feeling I'm going to want the interrupt accuracy. And flats are terrible for interrupting. Good little old Elonian chests. Okay, Sand Giant's gonna want a Giant Stomp at us. Guy's gonna want a Signet of Agnius. No Vile Touch. There's a Giant Stomp. You could have interrupted that, but you didn't. Acolyte Jin. Giant Stomp is not a fast activating skill. This is a weird spot where like you can get caught on the wrong side of some geometry and just get completely confused about how you move. I would like to see the collision maps of this game cleaned up slightly. To get some of the particularly egregiously weird spots like polished up, but and it's not exactly low-hanging fruit. That's a lot of work, so. I mean, my greatest desire right now for Guild Wars 1 is a weapon mods trader, hands down, easily. There are other things that would be nice, but weapon mods trader is top of my list. It is almost 4:30 p.m. here, and that is a very late-looking sky outside. I did see a suggestion at some point in time that it would be neat if once you give a hero hero's armor that you can like customize runes insignia on them pretty easily and stuff, and that would be neat. Kind of like the PvP menus. That'd have weird forces on the market. That's for sure. Yeah, weapon mods trader, top of my list. Okay, let's not stand in those. That was a vigorous spirit. Well, I caught a word of healing. Okay. Now we'll focus on the priest and it'll go down pretty quickly. No, don't want to see Aegis. There we go. That was not great, but we did it. Let's see, Alona Reach after this will allow me to kind of finish the last skill quest, I suppose. After that, I can just buy whatever skills I want without feeling like I'm infringing upon the skill quests. I just saw a statue over there and I was like, oh, that's cool. How's our enchantment removal? Poor. That might not be great for this. Let me replace poor with non-existent. No, don't want that. Okay, throw some dirt. Okay, we need to get some of these warrior types taken care of. Don't care that much about stoning. It's vaguely inconvenient, but deal withable. What if you just didn't have the ability to cast stoning for a while? There we go. Oh, this is going to be vaguely annoying. This boss has a ton of armor due to kinetic armor. Stopping stoning like that's going to make it hard to keep kinetic armor up, so... And that is why I did not bother too much with collecting drops early on, because I have some time now that I can spend doing that. I wait for this timer to kind of go around a little bit. I don't want to start fighting these guys too soon or they'll get resurrected, so... Give them another, like, 10 seconds. Have you get in form, and then we'll engage. Yeah, which is exactly why we don't want to take him down too quickly. There's like a PvP timing tactic of like trying to take down people right after the timer. In order to deprive the opposing team of their ally for as long as possible. Yes. De-shotted. Word of healing. That felt good. Felt terrible for the healer, but... I sort of predicted about how long 3 seconds was going to be, and knowing that that's the recharge, figured that it would probably be used on recharge, and I was right. Okay, if this individual could stop spamming... where's the thing over there? Stop spamming consume corpse, that would be great. Okay, so one of the things I need to make sure of here... So Escher is the monk. So I want to go for the monk last, is the main thing. Or at least I don't want to go for the ranger last, is perhaps the more significant thing. I'm pretty sure Josso Escher is the... I keep recognizing that name from freaking Guild Wars 2 because I'm pretty sure there's a boss there as well. Custodian Holgar, I believe, is the warrior. So I think I want to go that way, which is not my typical pattern. This guy I want to take out first because he's forgotten will kill King Kamar if you don't take them out. As you can see, they're already working on doing. No, you. And that's the other Custodian Phoebus, yeah. So this one I'm pretty sure, like 99% sure is the warrior. It is correct. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna have to wait. Missed my predict. Get in here. Okay. Boy, that took longer than it should have. Okay. That should keep King Kamar okay. That elite is a really good one, but Warrior's Endurance is useless on a ranger. On account of its strength skill. I actually wonder what its values look like under the effects of... You can stop hitting us now. At 5 strength, it may be actually vaguely usable. That's something that would be worth examining. I'm not going to do that right now, but it would be worth examining. Okay, priest down. Work on the other ones now. Well, I don't care if I'm obstructed on the other ones, since I'm not on this one. No troll unguent. Okay, now I can grab Marksman's Wager, a useless skill that I'll never use. It's not actually useless. A skill that I will almost certainly never use because I think there are better options, but it is an elite that I can add to my list of skills, so I do need to pick it up. Yeah, you gain 10 energy whenever your arrows hit, but lose 10 energy whenever your arrows fail to strike. It's potentially a lot of energy, but... This also comes with some serious risks, so... While I'm waiting for this timer, I'm going to just quickly check. Warrior's Endurance at 5, 15, and 15, eh? Okay, let's go ahead and get started on these guys. Well, I can see what you guys are all about. Oh, hey, some yellow dye. Neat. Oh, man. Felt good to interrupt that. Okay. This is probably going to be a little obnoxious, but... Okay. Focus on clearing out the rest of these, and everything will be fine. None of that. Man, de-shotting skills is super useful, which is probably why I should be using more diversion, because getting key skills diverted is a really good way to make the enemy's defense line crumple. It just really is. Okay. Mm-hmm. Put the yellow dye away, and oh. Interesting. Somebody has a lot of iron ingots, and that somebody is me. Okay. Hello, Sidon. Tyr and Sidon were ancient trading cities in the eastern Mediterranean. Okay. Obviously, my skill bar is messed up. And now it's been rectified. I do have these Elonian mirrors. Neat. Zealous bowstring. Maybe an icy longbow. We'll do Elona Reach. Elona Reach. Okay, something that I'm immediately thinking about here is Twin Moon is great. I think I'm going to swap her over to Rending Sweep. And the reason for that is because I want enchantment removal on my team somewhere. And that's where I'm going to fit it in. I could theoretically get it on him. Sharp enchantment would feel a little bit better if I was getting 2. Probably is better than Well of Blood, though. Yeah, I don't have... There's a no attribute 1 that if they're above 50%, you remove all of them, but I don't have that unlocked right now. I'm going to stick that on as well. There's some useful enchantments that these enemies are using, so I wanted a way of dealing with them. It looks really strong. The updated icons are updated, I guess, is the phrase. Interesting to see people standing around. Apparently these are all the Urgos folks. Well, never mind that. This is going to be so obnoxious. Carrying this vision crystal around is a pain. It makes me want to be a caster. It makes me want to make a touch ranger, but this character is not set up to do that right now. I probably could pick up Necromancer, but... Well, this vision crystal is just gonna have to spend a lot of time hanging around on the ground as I shoot things with my bow. I want a cold bow, by the way, because it works with Grunt's Grasp, and that's always a neat combo. I'm not going to call it a good combo. I'm just going to call it a neat combo, because that's what it is, but... Also, this will be good for getting the Minotaur Vengeance quest up. Because we're probably going to fight a lot of Minotaurs in this first part. Which is, in fact, my plan. How am I doing on Minotaur Vengeance? Ghostly Vengeance, whatever. I need 7 more Minotaurs. I think we'll be able to manage that. They are not especially strong. They are, however, possessed of wary stance, which is good against barrage. How are we doing on our Ghostly Vengeance? No, not that one. Okay, we have completed our Ghostly Vengeance. Excellent. We're going to ignore Dune Burrowers. Walk to the cutscene. Ooh, skill point. Sometimes you have to have a firm hand and tell your heroes not to fight enemies that will just stay there. And sometimes you need to tell your monks to heal themselves. Signet of Rejuvenation is not the best self-heal skill. It does work, but... This guy's voice.
So begins the test of the Alonians.
Man. Yeah, I talk about it like every time, but that voice... I can mimic it for like about 3 seconds before I start coughing because it hurts. Like less pain and more like irritation pain, but... You know what? I've made a decision, and that decision is I'm going to go this way first because I always go the other way first. There's nothing saying that you have to. Yeah, I don't want Aegis, thanks. Man, Word of Healing is a strong heal. I'm keeping the monk distracted. The monk is extremely distracted now. Yeah, I don't want to try to pick that up. I just wanted to pick up the money near it. This is going to go off and get... Okay. I'm going to wait for my party to stop being crippled. It's just going to be a little bit better for them if they're not. Thank you, Elias. Appreciate your efforts. There's plenty of time. I think there has been like a time that I've like risked running out of time here on this mission, but it's kind of hard to do. I've been mitigating a lot of damage with Throw Dirt, I imagine. It's not a skill I typically bring with me super often, but it's been doing some good work. I'm going to disable that Splinter Mine. Well, there goes Aegis, which I'm not thrilled by. Stopping Word of Healing feels good, even if it is only for a moment. Well, that lasted a little bit longer then, in the end. Whisper in Sunny. Oh, Monk Boss. Yeah, that's gonna be a little bit of a nuisance. It's really nice to have Antidote Signet against these guys. Blocked. I probably would have hit it otherwise, too. It being Word of Healing, incidentally. Interrupting Word of Healing is always a good thing for us. Okay. Excellent. Don't have to worry about that anymore. I heard that gate open. There's probably cartography to do back there that I probably have to do on my character that I've been theoretically doing cartography on. Or at least I wouldn't be surprised if there is. Well, unfortunately, our melee going over there triggered this whole group. Now we need to deal with them, which is not the worst, but... Oh. I just kind of assumed they hit me with the blind, and they did, but... That was after I assumed that they did, and it became a whole thing. I'm gonna go grab these gold coins now. Some interesting stuff of what they're talking about here, about how they basically couldn't cooperate. And so they all kind of like hoarded crystals and were not making the combined thing. So they split up into competing camps and how that was like their folly. Like, all of these, for the most part, have a story of how a group failed to ascend at the trial.
The ritual is almost complete.
There we go. There's my attempt at doing that VA. No earthquakey. Well, I don't like seeing Aegis go up either. Okay, that one's dead anyway. And that is why I brought some enchantment removal. I'm gonna clear out this group in case I feel like coming back this way. I don't know. Seems prudent. Yep. I know those guys like to open with Aegis, so... Oh, good. The monk did not survive. I love these glint crystal shards or whatever you want to call them. Does it actually have text on it? The story of Priest Hemnut. Priest Hemnut was the eldest of the high priests of Elonia, and therefore Elonia, not Elona. Interesting. And therefore felt it was he who should be charged with keeping all 3 shards of the Vision Crystal. It was his unyielding conviction of this point that eventually led to the split of the 3 high priests into separate camps, each taking their most devoted followers with them. Hemnut was a stubborn man, and even at the very end, as his people died of thirst and starvation, he never backed down from his stance. Kind of a sunk cost, probably, at that point, if I had to guess. We've sacrificed so much, we can't give up now. Tis Dan's, sir. It's Dan's, sir. Okay. I think we're just gonna get in there and deal. Oh, never mind. That problem is no longer a problem. Okay. Okay, we're over aggroing. How far does this group intend to chase us? Okay. Apparently they really wanted Elias dead. We want to make sure I'm not going too close. I don't want my people to run up and try to res right now. I want the enemy groups kind of spread a little bit. Elias has a little bit of an advantage because he's using Flush My Flush, which has normal casting range. They're all going to try to compete for this resurrection. Nope, no kinetic armor, please. Okay. Looks like we're all doing okay now. Now let's try taking out Tistancer in the... Or I could not be blinded. You could be blinded. They do seem to like to attack me, don't they? Ether Feast. Kind of a little hard to predict what the recharge on that is, but I did manage to do it and interrupt it, so that felt good. It always feels good to stop your enemy's healing skills from being able to heal them. It also feels terrible to have your healing skills interrupted, but, you know, that's how that works. Don't need them doing an Aegis. Thank you very much. Ooh, yeah. Turning its Word of Healing into 80 damages. Pretty nice. Here, have this. Nope. Don't need to interact with that. I want to pick up these gold coins, though. Okay. We have aggroed the boss. Arcanist should probably be a higher priority target, though. Okay. Back to the boss. Somehow only Elias got caught by that. It is weird to do this 1 second, but that's fine. This is such a long mission. Of course, whenever you pick up a crystal, it spawns more enemies and. Okay. We will have more skill quests, but they're not going to be until I get to Eye of the North. Once I turn in this one, anyway. Bonus obtained. Thinking too much about skill capping in the Southern Shiver Peaks. Because Escape is another one that's down there. I'm going to want to make sure I pick up. It's a useful elite. I think it probably was a bit more popular before, because various changes happened to it. I don't remember anymore if there's a PvP difference as well, but I think it used to be used with like daggers a lot, but of course Tau is now together as one is now the dominant skill that way.
The vision crystal is complete. Your day of judgment at Augury Rock is near. The gaze of the gods shall be focused upon you.
Yeah, the vision crystal is just a lens rock. Okay. Here's audience, I guess, is where I will leave from to get to dunes. Dunes is going to be kind of boring, but there's no way around that. Powerbound minor air. Neither of those are probably worth anything, but cloth, you say? I'm not really expecting to have loot stuff come up, so I'm just gonna collect this now and then. Oh. Okay, I've got a good supply of cloth here. Cloth doesn't really have an advanced thing that's made into, does it? Because, like, leather can be made into leather squares and Elonian leather squares, or tanned hide can. But, like, do any of... Because there are advanced fabrics, but a lot of times I feel like they're plant fibers or something. Now I kind of want to check. Air crafting material. Oh, bolts of silk. Well, that's kind of useless, though. Bolts of silk are much cheaper to get. It's a steel ingot issue all over again. You can spend 10 cloth and 10 dust and 250 gold to make a bolt of silk, or you can just get some other way where it's cheaper. Onion leather square is just adding dusts to your leather square recipe. Yeah, so cloth does have an advanced material. It's called silk, but it's just not worth making, just like steel is not worth making. Because they messed up the costs on things, on the artisans. Made it too expensive relative to the expert salvage costs, frequency, and not... I should have interrupted Chillblains, but I didn't. That's one of the problems with spamming attack skills, is it does make it harder to interrupt. I'm going to switch to this bow for the moment, and I'm going to ignore those enemies and let them fight each other. Seems like a good plan. The advantage of this bow is it gives me a little bit of armor penetration. Also, it hits a little bit harder. Hornbow would probably be a little bit better. I think that's 10% and this is 5, but... yeah, whatever. This is what I've got right now. I need more bows for this weapon, and I know it, so... it is what it is. If I can avoid fighting these guys, I prefer to do so. I think I can. My heroes is a distraction. The zone portal's just right here. Good old Vulture Drifts. Back to my Rotwing bow. Yeah, I'd rather you didn't eruption. Okay. Eruption is just a really bad place to stand for a physical attacker like me. I mean, I can deal with the blind, but not if I'm standing in it. I don't know. I love the dunes. You know? Are you? Yeah, you're doing an eruption. Eruption is one of those skills that really makes you appreciate both condition removal and not standing in place. It's a really good control skill, though. If Elias is blind, that doesn't really matter. Jin and I can both get rid of it, and Milani has to rely on Elias. It's okay. I need to get my warrior mending touch. That's the character that I kind of like most wanted on, as it were. And I kind of want it unlocked. Okay, I kind of need to go around this a little bit. I've often been coming from over there somewhere, so... I do need to turn in Ghostly Vengeance. Maybe I will think to do that after I get to Dune's Outpost. That sounds like a reasonable plan. I do have to figure out how I'm going to beat the doppelganger. I can probably just throw Frenzy on my bar and not use it. And that will probably be enough, actually. Ooh, an iridescent griffin wing. That smells like feathers. Good old feathers. What do feathers smell like? Sometimes you just say things and then you think about what the implications are of what you just said, and then you're wondering what feathers smell like. No. Okay. Aftershock, fine. Earthquake, do not want. Man, I miss the friggin' Griffin farm. I know I talk about it like every single time I fight these guys. I don't even know if I'd even have enjoyed it if I did it for longer. When I first started, it was really cool. And then it was cruelly taken from me. Just endless bots streaming out of Augury Rock. 55 monks going to farm the griffins. Those were ancient days. 5 feathers. Pretty good. I really do like the crude shield skin, and I want it in Guild Wars 2. That is all. Thank you. I mean, there's plenty of other things I could say, but that's all I wanted to say about the crude shield skin at that moment. This one has a really wide spread, which makes it hard to get all of these teleport switches on your screen at the same time. I do remember there's a bunch of forgot or enchanted in that area, and I switched to farming them once the griffin farm was killed. And that's how I earned the materials and money for my first... Why am I leaving this myself blind? For my first 15k armor, which was elite gladiators on my warrior. Uterit Ignis. Kind of thought the name was under it at first, but it is not. There is no N in Uterit. Jade Mandibles. Fast casting focus. That's not terribly useful. Enchanted longsword using that skin, which is kind of neat, actually. Dunes of sitting around waiting for the mission to end. Not a whole lot of despair here, just impatience. Probably should pick up some more kits while I'm here. Halden. Please buy this random stuff. Thank you. Goodbye. Deposit funds. Intermission. We're gonna go into 6-person party soon. That'll be exciting. Yes, I understand. Throne of Palantia. If you could open this, that would be great. Throne of Palantia is still around in Guild Wars 2. There's a whole thing that you can do with the generals going there and stuff. It's pretty neat, actually. I appreciate a lot of the Guild Wars 1 references that they have in Guild Wars 2 Crystal Desert. Obviously, the desert's quite different, in part because of Palawa Joko doing malarkey. But a lot of the major landmarks are still kind of there, even if the maps are arranged a little bit differently. I think that's one of the big things, really, that influences how much Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2 maps look like each other. It's just the boundary spots are different. And because they use boundaries with sheer cliffs, or like vertical cliffs, particularly in Guild Wars 2, because Guild Wars 1 you can kind of do longer distance landscapes with like a little bit of a ravine that you can't go across. Man, that's so cool looking. Seeing those buildings in the distance. Because those work, you know, that's how they have to do them. Because those fall in different spots as a result, like the geography is maybe a lot more different than it ought to be. Like things will change a good bit in 250 years though, and that's something that like you always have to give some wiggle room to, especially when there's things like Elder Dragons messing things up. So but like they still have these sorts of buildings in the Guild Wars 2 version of the area, and I appreciate that because it's, even if it's not like the exact same ones or whatever, or exact same positions or whatever, it's a nod to what the place was like. And a part of me does wish it was the same, but like, I don't know. That's too much. I have to admit that that's too much of a burden for the people making the maps. Anyone who's looking to do a warrior that can also pull out and use a bow, focused shot is a really good bow attack to use. It's only 5 energy, has a 2-second recharge, pretty decent damage. You can kind of get away with just it. It's bad for building up adrenaline, but whew. That damage is not good. Wow, distracting shot was just killer against that guy. Basically stopped him from doing anything. There's apparently some way of like doing some weird clippy or tricky thing here that people are doing nowadays in order to be able to do the cartography. I don't want these gold coins, thanks. Should be able to shoot these guys from over here, I think. I am correct. I can. They're running towards us because they want to use throw dirt, but they don't have a path to get to us, so they're just kind of being all sad and staring at us, being like, I want to throw dirt in your eyes, but I can't. You guys will start coming at us in waves. Man, I'm really finding myself wanting a vamp hornbow right now. I think there's a green one I can get somewhere, right? That might be an end of nightfall thing. That sounds like an end of nightfall thing. What was it? Tome of the Forgotten. I want to say. That is not the name of it. Well, I know there's the Deldrimore talisman, so maybe related objects. Yes. Book of Secrets, that's what it is. See, Zealous Flatbow. Yeah, it is a Vamp Hornbow. So that's probably what I'm going to get, is a Forgotten Hornbow. Yeah, and the Forgotten Recurve Bow also has the mods that I'd want. Okay. Well, that's neither here nor there. Might give the Dervish one to this character then. Because I don't really need any of the scythes. There's a really good scythe that you can get elsewhere, so... Yeah. I'll have to look at some of those options, though. Think about them. Think about what I want to do. This enemy is named Enemy Ghostly Hero. Okay, so while we're waiting here, something I was thinking about is if I were to ask your internet 3 questions. Because I watched the documentary recently that they did. And because they had a documentary where there is a celebration, right? So they're mostly glossing over some of the negative stuff. So, like, they didn't talk about the big layoffs that had happened several years ago. Quite a few years ago now, actually. And they didn't talk about a whole lot of stuff that was like, they kind of glossed over where things didn't work or whatever. And that's fine. Like, its purpose was to celebrate ArenaNet and Guild Wars and all that sort of stuff. And I appreciated that angle from it. And there were some neat tidbits in there. But I was thinking about, like, okay, but, like, what are some questions that I have that I would like to be able to ask your internet? And I'm like, okay, if I get 3 questions, those questions at my mind at the moment that are kind of top of my mind are, 1, and this is really relevant to Dunes of Despair, and this is in no particular order of importance to me or anything, but 1, what was the process for designing Prophecies maps, or like Prophecies missions? Because one of the things that we see is mission maps often have, in Prophecies in particular, have a lot of space that is unused. And Dunes of Despair is like the poster child for that, so that's why I was talking about that being particularly relevant. So there's a huge amount of area, like all the way over into there, that's just not used by the mission. So that's the first thing that I'd be curious about, is just like, what was that process like? Why did it result in this? Some of these having just so much space. The next question that I'd have for ArenaNet is, now that they have, this would be a Guild Wars 2 question, but now that they have, you know, this many years of experience, over a decade of experience with Guild Wars 2, what design decisions were made that they wish were different? Like, basically, what would they go back, and if they could do it all over again, what would they do differently? This looks like the actual throne right here, by the way. I hadn't ever really thought about that before. That might just be falling from this pillar, but because I think I would imagine that there's probably that for Guild Wars 1 as well, but with Guild Wars 2, I imagine there's a lot of things that they look at and say, okay, if we could do all of this over again, here are the things that we wish we had done differently at the beginning, but we're stuck with those decisions now, and we can't, like, we have to live with them. I'd be very curious to know what those are and what sort of their analysis is at this point. The third question that I ask is, why is the Legendary Relic so freaking expensive? Like, why do they think it needed to be that many Lucent Motes? I know that last one seems like very different from the other ones, but I'd actually be very curious to know that their answer is. Because I feel like it is a serious design decision to say, oh yeah, the Legendary Relic should be, you know, this expensive. That's not a trivial decision that they've made. So I'd be very curious why they made it. There's got to be intention in it and all that sort of thing. So enemies might draw near, but we're distracting them. Wow, Elias is on his ball today. I don't know exactly what I'm saying, but he's on the ball. Whatever. 2 Mesmer bosses in this map is kind of weird. But yeah, it's just because it's so expensive. I'd be very curious to know why. And in part, it is true. It is because I've been like struggling to build up the things for it, the Lucent Motes. But I want to know what the purpose behind that struggle was, what the design intent behind it was. Were they trying to really soak Lucent Motes out of the economy? Did they just not want people to be making it very easily? They think it was just that valuable? Because, like, from my perspective, it's a design mistake. So, anyway, killing siege worms. Killing more siege worms. If I can get around whatever that geometry was. Man, that does not like a distracting shot at all. So those are my 3 questions. Be curious to know what yours are. If you're watching the VOD, write them down in the comments below. Apparently comments are no longer a useful engagement metric for YouTube, I've heard. They realize that people are just asking their viewers to comment. And watch time is, I think, probably the major one. Like percentage watch time, that sort of thing. I'm not trying to do the bonus. I just wanted to collect my 107 gold coins. This area is, however, full of jade scarabs, which I am not fond of. This is one where if I'm going to go off to do the bonus, I'd want to leave like 2 heroes behind in order to defend the ghostly hero, just to make sure. Don't feel comfortable leaving them here. The fact that you have to do tricks for cartography in this map because it's so freaking vast and it's got a timer, just, I don't know, the design just feels wasteful. I want to go kill that worm too. Well, if you're going to seed your own feet, I guess I don't need to worry about you much. Hey. Distracting shot is good stuff against this guy. Remember, 20 of the damage I'm dealing to this guy is from barrage. That means the 4 damage I just dealt was my bow damage. 35 was like critical hit or something there. That I'm content to leave sit there because I'll get it in a loot drop, the thing at the end. It's probably more valuable than that gold coin thing I picked up though. Dance party at the Throne of Palantia. I do like that Avatar of Dwayna uses the female monk dance. One of those nice little polished things, you know? And now she's doing the dervish dance. And that dance makes me so dizzy just looking at it. They did some good stuff with the skirt physics, though. Or like, and then properly spotting with a bunch of those spins. Spotting is a technique with spinning where you like you rotate your head so you're looking at in one spot and then you kind of whip it around in order to kind of like minimize the effects of rotation causing dizziness. You can see Milani doing that right there. Obviously, she's not doing it with all of her moves, but very intricate footwork too. That's an incredibly complex animation, actually. And just as I said, in my unclaimed items. Okay, goodbye, party. Hello, frenzy. I could bring winds. If only it didn't take 5 seconds to activate at the beginning of the fight. I'm going to switch this bow. We'll see how this goes. I may need to tweak my bar more. If I don't have to, I don't want to, but I might need to. These guys, though, will tell you how to find the various, like Ilona Reach and stuff. They'll tell you a little bit about it if you come in here early. But the game doesn't tell you that you can come in here early, which is a little bit of a... I mean, it does. I think maybe if you talk to the ritual priest, but like it's not going to be... Like, the Crystal Desert just mechanically works differently than everywhere else. Okay. Apparently I fooled it into running up to me and just auto-attacking. Well, that worked. Okay. I accept this. I haven't watched this cutscene in a while. I'm going to. I feel like it.
Reach out and take hold of your destiny. Your ascendance is now complete.
Just thinking about jumping around that chamber trying to get all of the little motes for the Flameseeker Prophecies tablets. Guild Wars 2. They did a really good job of recreating it. Okay. Signet of Capture. I'm going to need more Signets of Capture soon. Alright. Jin, Dakora, Dankoro, Elias, Gwen, Vec, Milani. Don't think there's anything I especially want to make different. Actually, I kind of don't like one person being a bar pusher and the other one not having a whole lot of bar pushing capability, but yeah, Dunkoro's good on that front. Probably doesn't need Glyph of Lesser if I have a Bipper. Probably doesn't need this. Has hex removal already. The problem is the skills that I would tend to put on there are ones that have longer recharges. Let's go ahead and throw on Signet of Devotion, I guess. Playing in the same sort of space. Not really sure what else I'd want. Well, like if I was a player, I'd consider like Jamie's Gaze or things like that, but I don't want to give that, or Healing Breeze, but I don't want to give those to him because I don't think he's going to use them wisely. That's the issue. This does provide healing, which is nice. I'm not sure if I want Talcora to have Prost Spirit, is the thing. Peace and Harmony is really nice, though. Probably not super critical in this one. Okay, yeah, she's definitely not set up to use Blessed Light. This is a spot where actually what I kind of want is Zealous Benediction, but I don't have that unlocked yet. I might just give her Boon Signet and deny hexes. That'll allow her to get additional healing out of these skills right here. I think is fine. And more healing from that seems decent. I don't really want to give her Shield of Regen. The energy cost is just too high. And there's going to be too much enchantment stripping is also part of it. Makes Vigorous Spirit a little bit worse, but what you're going to do. Actually, if I drop both of these, drop that to 8, I can raise this up. Part of what I'm wanting is I'm wanting to distribute skills that can push health bars up a little bit more broadly than I feel like I currently am. I want more air magic. But this is what I've got, isn't it? I'll leave Glyph of Lesser. It's probably not great, but it's probably fine. Mostly I don't really have anything I want to put on more. Okay, I feel better about that. That's probably enough healing effects. I don't know, I just felt a bit uncertain about how much healing that I had. Okay, well, neither of those did what I wanted. That's fine, but, you know. I wish I slept better last night. Oh well. Right, I keep forgetting Ghostly Vengeance. I'm going to put Vec and Milani back in my party in a moment. Need to go back to Augury Rock and turn to Ghostly Vengeance. Or China. Thank you. Dust Trap is the big one there. Just gonna go sell stuff to Sidon. I just go so fast for some reason. It just throws me off. I'm used to double clicking to sell stuff, so using the sell button going twice as quickly in terms of clicks is weird to me for some reason. Okay, Dragon's Lair. I do want to go stop into... Back in Milani, get back in here. I do want to go stop in Tombs, the Tombs Outpost. I don't know where this is supposed to go or why this is here. It's just like a gate on a... Maybe the portal is back there or something. But like, look, I could easily walk through there. Anyway. We're going to ignore physics in video games because, boy, howdy, is that a mess that's best forgotten. Yeah, I don't want to do bonus here. Priest of Menzies. Yeah, that one's going to be a while. Okay, I just wanted to get tombs on my map. Okay, so Dragon's Lair is going to have Melandri's Resilience for me to capture, which is going to be nice. After the second boss too, which means I'll get early. I will step through the portal. Thank you very much. Long portal cutscenes. Just apply mending to your entire party. I should do that sometime. I should just make like a stupid monk build and see how well the heroes use it. That's just like mending and blessed signet. Probably signet of Devo and signet of rejuvenation in there as well. And you get an elite, so maybe boon signet. No, boon signet would be bad in that build, right? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that entirely is going to look like, but I am pretty sure Milani's splinter weapon was doing work. Would the AI even try to keep mending up on everyone? Or just be like, oh, you're taking hits. I'll put mending on you. I kind of want to experiment with that and just see how it works. Not even sure what elite I'd want for that crazy concept. Actually, Healing Light's not a terrible idea, because everybody should theoretically be enchanted. And it energy refunds, so... I really don't need body shot. My energy just doesn't get that low. Good. Good to see Guardian interrupted. I'm excited about the fact that I'm going to get to the Southern Shiver Peaks today. Might even be able to get Punishing Shot. Oh, this map sucks. This part. It's all one map. It's all one big map. But yeah, it's not really worth it unless you can keep it up all the time, I think. Honestly, if you want that effect and you're not warrior primary, you can go... there's a Dervish Wind Prayers enchantment that does something similar. Cancels out your energy regen, but you get more like energy... Ooh, Monstrous Claw. Very nice. Ooh, Seared Arm Guard. Very nice. Come on, Sup Vigor. Okay, well, that's Superior Absorption, which I've now unlocked. There's some argument to salvaging that out for my warrior if I don't already have one, just because it would save a little bit of cash, but you know, relative to the value of selling the armor, because it's 200 gold to buy it and 144 to sell. Warrior has argument for most varieties of armor, in my opinion, because there's so many different interesting insignia that the warrior has that other classes just don't. Like there's knights and sentinels, and then you want radiant, which actually is a very meaningful choice because warrior's base energy is low enough that you can't use 25 energy skills with it because it's only 20. It's mostly, though, kind of a choice between, like, knights and sentinels. But then there's also lieutenants and stonefists, and et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of little choices. And then radiant. I do like radiant. One of the things I'm really appreciating about the AI is that it seems to focus on using Splinter Weapon on people who are hitting multiple targets. I feel like there's some decent intelligence behind how it's using it. And that's, I don't know, I'm just thinking about generative AI stealing the term AI and making people think of that first. It's like, it's barely even qualifies as artificial intelligence in the first place. Like, the thing is, a real intelligence is making decisions. Even, like, so like an artificial intelligence in games is like, okay, it's evaluating what actions to take based upon various criteria, and like to some extent LLMs are doing that too, but it's like what things are most likely to come following these other things. And it's just, I don't know. Feels like a lot of work to try to get to that. Well, now I can use this for the rest of this particular mission, which is not really going to come up. But also, I don't have any investment in wilderness survival. I guess I can change that. A few points in there. Almost has decent uptime. This is one of those skills, honestly, that's really hard to use. Because most of the time you want to get rid of conditions and hexes that are on you, not grant yourself the ability to like endure them. It's one of the problems with We Shall Survive as well. So like this is a really cool skill, but its use cases are very limited. The times where I think it's probably at its best are against enemies that just spam you with so many hexes that it's not reasonable to keep yourself clean from them. I probably talked about that in the skill review video, but the effect is very potent. And it doesn't require very much investment in order to be able to keep it up all the time. Although you definitely need to be getting a good amount of energy regen from it to kind of make that worth it. To pay for itself, you would need like 3 hexes for 5 seconds, which is doable, but if you're at like 2 hexes, 2/3, 15 is like, you need 10-second uptime in order for it to pay for itself. So it's like, it's very easy for it to actually be costing much of the energy it is offsetting you by. These guys are just rude. These enemies have a lot of shatter hacks, or shatter enchantment, rather, excuse me, which is why I wanted to be careful about not bringing too many enchantments in here. Or like was less enthused about them, I suppose one could say. I stopped a Chaos Storm. That feels good. I'm gonna miss that one though. This area's weird because it has all of these chest-high walls that are kind of forcing you around awkwardly. My part is a little weirdly spread out. We've been doing okay though, so that's good. That's good. One of the things that's nice about distributing healing across multiple members of your party, by the way, is one of the ways that concentrating healing can fail is if that person falls under a lot of pressure, and they're going to have a hard time healing others. But the other thing that can really be a surprise problem is they can't heal while they're healing. So having distributed healing actually means that you can have, like, well, one person is getting their, like, if two or more people are getting their butt kicked, you can be healing both of them at the same time, right? Or more of them at the same time. So ooh, 7 scales. That's actually pretty decent loot from that. One of the things that's so good about Imlad, You Move Like a Dwarf, is that it allows you to get the interrupt effect while in the middle of another action. Unlike, like, one of the things that I've run into with Savage Shot here, that sometimes I would like to interrupt an enemy, but they are in the middle of, or like I'm in the middle of performing Barrage, so I can't just switch. I have to wait for Barrage to finish. And the fact that you can interrupt what you are doing in order to interrupt with a shout, like You Move Like a Dwarf, is one of its strengths. I'm going to have to look into where some of the skill caps in the Southern Shepherd Peaks are. I'm also going to need to make sure I go grab more Sickness of Capture. I can cancel out the poison, but the thing is I have condition removal, so that's also going to cancel out the poison. Lander's Resilience is just not very good here. I have too many ways of dealing with conditions, and hexes aren't plentiful enough here. I am about to get another skill point, which is exciting. I'm going to spend some of those skill points. I don't have enough money to spend all those skill points, though. I'm going to spend some of them. We don't need to fight those guys, so why go over this way? Okay, Facet of Darkness. Hit me with your grunt shot. Yeah, there's grunt balance. Not a skill I consider particularly good. But it did give me my skill point. Okay, now we have the Elementalists. This one can be a little obnoxious because these guys have shock. Mm-hmm. It's Puddles inspiration for the damage elemental glyph that we get in Guild Wars 2, right? This is one of the more linear ones, actually. You don't come and get these guys, they will come to get you. Something actually that would be really helpful is if they had a toggle for mouse control on off. Kind of like if they had an action cam toggle in this game. I don't think that's an option, though. It's something I just thought about. I don't see anything like that. Doing a firestorm right now. Wow. That hit a lot. Or aftershocks. Yeah, that sounds about right. Looks like I got hit by a shock in there too. The thing is unfortunately hidden by my heroes, but... glad to see someone was prompt about keeping that from happening. I am accepting all sorts of major runes. That is not one of them. Why am I getting absorption runes today? I got superior absorption and major absorption. Not exciting. Steel ingot from that, though, so that's exciting. Like getting steel ingots, they're useful. Oh, we're about to get... oh, no, Earthquake got stopped by something. I don't have Mistrust unlocked yet. That's one of the skills that I'm missing that's quite effective. There's a bunch of Mesmer skills I should theoretically go get. Mistrust is definitely high on that list, although I kind of don't mind my current bar that I've got going on there. I got a decent amount of enchantment removal at this point, which is good. Facet of Elements. Very, very red here. We'll be doing a lot of that soon. Okay. Well, time for the knockdown zone. We have a blend all sorts of nasties in here. Ooh, an inscribed chakram. Nice. Well, I will pick that up later. It is now later. It's a pretty lengthy knockdown. Domination magic, illusion magic +1. At least it's worth 252 gold, is what I can say about it. There's not a whole lot else to say about it. These guys are surprisingly bad at doing damage, so that's good and keeps us from getting absolutely stomped during the knockdown phases. It's like every 20 seconds or something you get knocked down. It's kind of rude, really, when you think about it. We might actually be able to do the bonus, but I just don't feel like trying. Inspired Hex is actually really useful if you're trying to do the bonus, though. I don't have that right now, though. Do I even have that unlocked? I do. Inspired Hex is extremely useful in certain circumstances, so it's nice to have. Yep. Sure is an awful lot of getting knocked down. This is such a cool train. Okay, Facet of Strength. It's go time. Hey, Glint. Goodbye, Glint. If I want to talk to Glint, I should have watched that cutscene, and I don't care. Drockner's Forge. Woo! Okay, step 1. I have done all of the prophecy skill quests on this character that I can do on this character, so far as I know. So that's good. That means I'm going to want to go hit up a bunch of stuff. I'm going to need a lot more Sickness of Capture before I'm through. In particular, I'm going to go capture myself like Poison Arrow and stuff. Not that Poison Arrow is a particularly good skill, but it's still a skill. And I need it for my all skills unlocked thing that I'm doing. Yeah, Steel Ingots. Okay, that one probably not a very good source of Steel Ingots. Yeah, I'm Hugo Bronzebeard. I will take that. I am not too interested in doing Ice Caves right now. Never mind all those things. Let's go see what I get out of this cloth. That's fine. I don't know why I promoted that one to that position, but here we are. I thought that might be granite. I wanted granite, and I got granite. Not gonna take that for granite. Haha. Okay. Rune Trader. Let's have a chat. Do you like absorption runes? The answer might not surprise me. The answer is no. You do not care about absorption runes. This one, again, because if I wanted to request a quote for this, it'd be 200. Probably worth hanging on to that one. Pirebound, yeah, not worth anything. Minor Air, 160. Probably not enough for that one, though. Bone Lace, also probably not worth anything. No, it's not worth anything. Bloodstained is kind of shot up a little bit, though. Okay. This stuff all going to the merchant, then. Over here. Sound. Yes, please. Thank you. Just deposit funds to even things out. And then I'm going to probably withdraw like 10 plat. I don't know. It's going to be mostly Signals of Capture that I'm going to grab right now. I guess Apply Poison is gotten elsewhere? Huh. I'm just looking apply poison up on the wiki. Maybe it feels like it. Oh yeah, it's hero skill trainers, but not skills. Interesting. Well, I definitely want to apply poison on this character. I grabbed a bunch of sickness capital already, right? Yes. Okay, good. I want cold shot. I know that's not really unlocking anything. I'll grab ignite arrows while I'm at it. I'm gonna leave a lot of the pet stuff, I think, to my necro actually. Let's grab hunter shot as well. Seems like I have a bunch of those unlocked already, but you know, here we are. Deposit funds. Oh, yeah, I must not have been all the way at max cost yet. Okay. Whitman's Folly should be nearby, so I'm gonna go over there first, actually. Not this way, I'm not. And then I'm going to capture Poison Arrow, which is not a great skill, but... I mean, it's a skill, right? That's the rub. Probably going to want to look up Escape. Yeah, okay. There's a PvP version. Whoop Bumble. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of to the left. So I'll probably try to grab Escape on my way to Camp Rancor, which is probably where I'm going to go next. Punishing Shot, which I want, is north in Snake Dance area or something. I'm going to double check exactly where it is. It's just a skill that I kind of want access to, so. I think it's Pip Pip for Poison Arrow. Doesn't matter. I'm going to have to deal with a bunch of Grawl. No. This is just like Grawl and Grawl Crone like crazy, so you just get slammed with Chillblains around here. Okay, that's Whoop Whoop. That's UA. I have Unyielding Aura already though. I grabbed it on somebody. My monk probably. Came out here on my monk. This is definitely not a place to bring a Condi build. They will turn it against you. Look at Grawl necklaces. I think that's the same thing that you get in the pre-sowing. These are worth salvaging because you get plant fibers from them. That is not immediately obvious is what you're going to get from it, but... Okay, Selene Pip Pip, I'm pretty sure is the boss that I want out here. I do want to go all the way to Port Sledge regardless. I don't know that there's anything especially important to pick up there, but I just like having it on my map, so... One of the challenges of making things for an international audience, there's apparently one of these Grawl bosses whose name they changed because it was naughty language in a different language. I really like that particular hammer skin, the spiked ball one. Victo's Maul uses it, and I have had that on my oldest warrior on my main account for ages. Just has a special place to me. Lightning reflexes. What am I supposed to do about that? I mean, I don't need to worry about it because irresistible sweep exists. But there we go. Poison arrow obtained. Take that. He's poisoned now. How much damage does that do? 9 seconds of poison is 72 damage, I think. Not nothing, not much. Yeah. It's not really a good reason to go to Port Sledge right now, but I do want to while I'm out here, so. Cool getting those towns that are off the beaten path, you know? Like we stayed. I think my priorities, yeah, so try to get escape in Camp Rancor. Okay, we aggroed the other group, which I was hoping to avoid, but we did not. It's the Vim boss. You can see him using Vim. Victory is mine. Not a terrible skill or anything, but not something I'm getting on this character. It was really good on Rangers for trap builds when it affected kind of an area of effect. You kind of go crazy with it. But it's now a single target skill. I think it's still solid. Guess I'm kind of going around this way. Not sure that it really matters a whole lot. Maybe the other way is smarter. I'm not sure. If we start running into Azure Shadows, I'm going to feel poor about this particular decision. But it might also just be the best way over here, so... No. There's Port Sledge. Well, I'm not running into Azure Shadows, so I don't feel bad about it, but... I'm going to ignore those Grawl. I'm close enough to the spot. It just makes sense to walk through it. There can sometimes be, especially in prophecies, different selection of skills that some of these trainers, so probably worth checking what this guy has just in case there's something I really want. Okay, there isn't. Winter is available. Oh, yeah. Skill bar. Captures, etc. Okay. Back to Drox. Hey, a couple of other squares. Excellent. Some of these high level armors are more likely to produce rare materials. I think it may not be true. It may not be true at all. Certainly the quantities are likely to be higher, though. Caribbean Viking, that doesn't make any sense. Okay. So the boss that I want can spawn kind of in areas over here. It's a troll boss. Can somebody tell the avocado to leave me alone? Well, I did eventually. There's a lot of mountain trolls. None of them look like my boss that I'm looking for. It's okay if it doesn't spawn here. There's other places. There's in particular a spot in Snake Dance where I might try to capture it instead. But I'm going to go up to Talus Shoot. Probably, I think this is a through path. These trolls have gotten farmed a lot for power leveling in particular. They give a good amount of experience. They're level 24. They're pretty weak. Use Battle Rage. That's another skill I'm going to need to capture. And I forgot where I'm going to do that. Not thinking about it too much right now. Battle Rage is a particular skill. Used to be worse. Used to be a lot worse, in fact. It ended itself, if I remember correctly. Okay. Krog Smush is what spawned here. Whoop Bumble. I think that might be the boss that I need, actually. Guy likes U's. Has 6 of them in his name. Only Val. Yeah, it's Ranger boss, alright. Got that familiar Ranger green. I see your escape, and I raise your irresistible sweep. Hopefully done correctly. Nope, not done correctly. Frozen soil, eh? Anyway, that unlocks escape for me, which is nice. Escape is a decent skill. Decent skill. Move 33% faster and have 75% chance to block attacks. Really good for running. So, you know, for some reason you're doing that. It's great for it. Also kind of nice on melee ranger. Since it has pretty good uptime percentage and allows you to get closer to enemies. And protect yourself while you're fighting them. So, nice and versatile. Glad to have it. Gotta kind of go around a little wonkily here due to the structures. Making my way up to Camp Rancor, and then from there... I'll need to think if I want to... I'll need to look up to see where the boss is. If it's where I think it is next to Dreadhot and Drifts. I'm probably going to want... Well, there's an annoying shield over there. Oh, nope. Well, that could have gone better. I think in PvP escape Ends if you attack. Not so in PvE. Nope, nope, nope. Ah. Keep attacking through ineptitude, and that keeps being not what I want to do. Ineptitude is a particular Tengu ability. I think you can get it from a different Tengu in Eye of the North. Or from Mineral Springs. I tend to prefer the former. But I believe Punishing Shot can be acquired either in... Oh, these guys are obnoxious. They're so tanky. I think it's the top end of Snake Dance. Oh. This is Illusionary Weaponry boss. It's annoying. Because it's a Mesmer that tries to spam clumsiness on you. Main reason why I say that. Illusionary Weaponry is kind of a bad skill, though. It's one of those skills that, like, seems better than it is. It's really good at consistent pressure, but it's not very good at actual high DPS. It's just very consistent DPS, which is its own sort of strength, but... Your attacks will always hit for this much, but never more, never less. Illusionary Weaponry way. Okay. The big thing that I need to determine right now... Barrage back on here, like I like. I want to go capture Punishing Shot, as I have established, I believe, at this point. Dust. I don't mind some dust. Let's see. Punishing Shot. However, yeah, okay, it's Stole Boulder Rain and Snake Dance. It's in the northern half of it. So... There's 3 possible spawn locations. One of them is right next to the Dreadhaunt Drift zone portal. The question that I have to ask myself is if I want to stop in Deadrimmer War Camp on the way up. I think I do. I'm going to bring the Signet of Capture with me in case I run across the Ranger boss of the Dwarves along the way. That is a Melandru's arrows. So I'd want to potentially be able to capture that when I see it. And outside Sorrow's Furnace is a good spot for those. But we're going to go make a long trek up to the Deldrimmer, because this is Camp Rancor, Deldrimmer War Camp over here, and then we're going to come back out and go up Snake Dance. And it's going to be long, and it's going to be annoying, and it's probably going to be, like, I'm probably going to end the stream capturing Punishing Shot. And that's just what this stream is going to look like at the end here. These blessed griffins are a menace. They can surround you with symbols of wrath that are not great for your health. Fortunately, our team is very physical heavy. These guys do have Spellbreaker, which can be a problem for caster heavy teams. Doing a lot of good ranger skill getting though. I think I need to go this way and then up and around. I don't know. I admit to not being the best expert on the topography here. I mean, I've been through here plenty of times, but it's been a while, so I've done a whole lot here. So I don't necessarily have the best memory of it. I'm kind of going off of my mini-map. That looks like a dead end up there. I think there's a potential Griffin boss spawn location. Mine Shock, I think, if I remember rightly. Might be some others, but... good to see market protection interrupted. That one's a problem. I appreciate that Giant Stomp has such a freaking long windup that the animation is kind of obvious when it's beginning, so you can maybe use that to help your interrupt and to go better. Let's see, because I'm looking for... Yeah, it's up in there, I think. I should not stand here. Spellbreaker I'm actually less concerned about than Symbol of Wrath. Symbol of Wrath creates an invisible AoE area, which is actually kind of threatening. I wish it freaking looked as sweet as its icon. I say every time I think about that skill. This guy is very fragile. Yeah, I knew a Giant Stomp was coming. Okay, mark protection. Don't attack that guy unless they friggin' deal with him. Life Attunement is probably not the worst thing to have them get applied. Life Attunement, I believe, reduces enemy damage. Or, like, reduces the damage that the person enchanted with it deals. So if the enemy is putting it on, that's where I get the statement that I was making. A round shield, not to be confused with a kite shield. Okay. Oh. Can't Savage Shot if it's recharging. Those monks are terrible at their job. I don't even know what this monk was trying to do. It's probably under pressure from some other member of my team, honestly. Given that it did nothing to protect those Dolyaks. Or the giant guys. The thing that's annoying about them is the way that they chain. Is that to yourself? No. Okay. Now it's time for mountain troll territory. This is another spot where you can potentially capture escape, is in that cave up there. But I got it already, so I don't need to worry about that. I was thinking like, okay, what do I title this? To capture punishing shot, one must first conquer the Crystal Desert. You know, it's kind of what I'm thinking, but that's not actually true. You could fight your way down from Beacon's Perch. That doesn't sound like a great time, but you could. I have done that before. Oh, now that's what we like to see. Maybe I should fight my way up to Beacon's Perch on this character. Not going to do that today, though. That's for freaking sure. Probably want to wrap up about 7 p.m., which is in about half an hour for me. Hence the statement I made earlier. That throw dirt just like blinded all of these guys, which is pretty good. Smuck Fumble. Whoo! Numbers. Numbers, I say. My brain, followed by Deuteronomy. Brains are silly, aren't they? Oh, yeah. Man, our Ellie is also not really able to spread damage around that well because air elementalist, but you know, Chaos Storm would work well. Energy Surge Bird is probably beautiful in there. Hucknil the Lesser. Didn't Hope Stealer. I hate these guys. Okay. You go up past those Tundra Giants and curve around to Grunt's Footprint. This is where Sorrow's Furnace lies. We're going to Sorrow's Furnace area. We're not going to do Sorrow's Furnace, though. Behold me not standing in the way of Giant Stomp because I was getting around to get a clear shot. Well, got knocked down that time. Okay. Where is the thing? Yeah, okay. It's over in this area somewhere. Ow. Man, I need Chillblains to deal with these guys. Spamming Retribution and Holy Wrath. Is it over there? The upper layer. It has legit been quite a while since I've gone here, so I am... Okay. That I'm happy to see, because that gives me a sense of direction. By which I mean right here. At east, at the Grant's Footprint sign. That I can do. Notice that they got knocked down with the Giant Stomp as well. One of the things that Thunder Giants do that's kind of annoying is they have a property that makes them knock you down on critical hit, which is pretty sweet. That would be a crazy assassin enchantment. Whenever you critically hit a foe, knock them down. I'm pretty sure that would be one of the most broken skills. Like, if you want a broken assassin elite, give them that. Although a dual attack that can knock down a foe if they are critically hit would actually be pretty interesting. A little hard to use super well, but would be kind of interesting. Kind of a counterpart to Trampling Ox, and I'm not sure what you'd call it. Malicious Ox, maybe? Because there's Malicious Strike. Hello, Dwarven Prospector. I will grab this, but I'm not going to be doing that right now. One of the things we need to keep an eye out for is these Priests of Sorrow can use Resurrect. as I have just aptly demonstrated. We don't need to worry about that one for a little bit because I de-shotted it, but... And they're kind of bad at monking otherwise. And Resurrect, it takes forever to activate, so it's not a huge issue. And it also, the person that gets Resurrected is super weak because it's like one of the worst Resurrection skills in the game, but, you know. Okay, so one of the other things that I want to keep an eye out for is the Ranger boss. This is a convenient place to capture it. I think I accidentally hit 4 instead of C, which didn't work super well. C, of course, is the key for selecting nearest enemy. A lot of my targeting is C space type targeting. So, I mean, I will do others as well, but I'm often mashing tab to do it. Doliac Masters and stuff. I don't remember where all the spawn locations are, and unfortunately they're extremely random. I know there's one kind of out by some wood things over kind of more of this direction. Towards Spearhead Peak or whatever it is. I don't know, there's something about the Southern Shiver Peaks that feels very like wildernessy and mysterious to me. A lot of these like little outposts, Copperhammer mines and stuff too, for example. I'm not particularly feeling a need to get, excuse me, Melandria's arrows right now. If I do, I do, and if I don't, I don't. It's fine either way, but... Miss Nasher. Oh, I had my Barrage Disrupting chopped, which is not great for me. If I don't, like, get it now, I'll just go hunt for it later, basically. What it kind of comes down to. Oath Shot. That's that one. There's also a chance for some useful green weapons from some of these, but... It has a 30-second recharge, which is plenty of time to get this guy down with. Now, Melandria's Resilience would be kind of good right now. I want to get the cracked armor off. It's making me more vulnerable to the cold damage that those guys are dealing. Roth Yak Slapper. That's the monk, which I have no business with right now. Looks like I can kind of ignore the bosses along this route, so... Keep a little bit of an eye out, but... Where we first got introduced to Budger Black Powder, who becomes relevant in Eye of the North. Okay. Desert War Camp obtained. Wow, this guy looks tall. Here. Justification, stealing it. I'm gonna just salvage some of these. Probably not the IDS. Or FDS, excuse me. FDS can just be identified. A lot of this stuff is not worth salvaging. Some low-level collectibles. Okay, time to go get Punishing Shot. Once I deposit things, obviously, and whatnot. Okay. I'm actually going to go ahead and put this... actually, let's salvage that superior absorption out of it, because I don't need the rest of it, and if I... Okay, I do keep it so I can merchant it. I'm just going to drop that there for no particular reason. Probably actually should put it over in this one where I have other stuff floating around. Okay. There's a merchant around here somewhere. Telgar. I can merchant that as well, so that's nice. That was the Dwarven Ale. I don't know how good of an intoxicant that is. Miner's Key, and Repeat Key, and Lockpick. Okay. Yeah, a lot of those feel kind of scammy if you ask me, but yeah, it's where we are. I don't think... I like the idea of locked chests and keys. I think it's a really, really good idea. The problem is it's a lotto ticket that generally feels like it's just not worth it. So I don't, as a general rule. I ignore them. Anyway, I'm going to go off to try to get Punishing Shot, and that's going to take a while, and be what I wrap up the stream doing. Because it's going to take a while. Gotta make our way up Snake Dance. Coral Rock Molder. I don't know which one that is. Wish they would always put the professions in the thing. I think that's a Mesmer, judging by the color and stuff. And that's also Goral, not Coral. Could have been the Ellie, but I think the Ellies are ice golems, so probably not an Ellie. Your heroes kind of pay attention to what you pay attention to, for better and for worse. Let's not get deep frozen here. Recurve bow. Well, there's a small chance that that's vaguely worth using. It's not. Ebon bowstring would have been cool like 15 years ago or something. I'm not even sure how long ago. Ebon Dust Aura used to make it so that way your attacks that dealt earth damage would blind foes. Similar to Grunt's Grasp, but it turns out that's real good with like spears and bows that allow you to do that at a range, and so they changed the functionality, and so that is no longer the functionality, and therefore I don't care about that particular skill anymore. For the most part, like it's fine. It's basically an elite conjure earth in Dervish. Except, like, melee only. Alani is not figuring out how to do her business of attacking, but it's okay. We got the enemies anyway, despite her ineptitudes. I'll take this half moon. So anyway, the long and short of it is Ebon bowstrings were real cool when you could use it to blind foes on attack and stop being cool as soon as you couldn't anymore. Fire is useful, but there's ways of getting fire that if you really want it. But it's only really useful because of Mark of Rodgort, and cold is useful. Theoretically, you can trigger Spinal Shivers with it, but who cares? It's Grunt's Grasp that I particularly care about. I'll get it on this character eventually, but not until I finish UAS, because I already have it on, like, my Dervish. So there's no reason to get it on another character at the moment. Not when my funds are as limited as they are. Need to keep an eye on these Priests of Sorrow. Okay. The Well of Suffering, yeah. Well of Suffering annoyingly gives everybody purple health bars, like a hex, even though it's technically not. Which can be a little confusing. Okay, so the real question is, how many times will I need to zone into Dreadhaunt's Drifts in order to be able to get this boss to spawn? There are 3 possible spawn locations that I will check on my way. I do love the Shiver Peaks and the snow in them. I don't know, there's just something magical about the Shiver Peaks. Oh, I missed. Timed. Okay, we're gonna ignore the Griffin. I don't think there's a way up here, question mark? Well, okay, I'm gonna find out if this is... It is, in fact, despite how steep it looks, possible to walk up that. Okay. So I'm gonna take a quick... I'm gonna fight some Azure Shadows, and then I'm gonna take a quick check of the wiki to pinpoint the locations of... These guys bunched up a little bit more, but oh well. The possible spawn points. There are 3 spawn points for 2 bosses, and they may or may not use them. There's one fairly close to the zone portal to Dreadhaunts, which is what we'll check if the enemy refuses to spawn. Okay. So the first one... appears to be right there. That's where we're going to go. I'm going to make sure to get close to this Resurrection Shrine just in case I need it. It probably is already active, though. Prophecy's Resurrection Shrines are wonky and generous compared to the other campaigns, which you need to get close to activate. Prophecy ones are like, oh, you died and there's a Resurrection Shrine halfway through the map where you haven't even been yet? We'll warp you to it. And I think they realized maybe we don't want to allow the player to death warp to a further Resurrection Shrine in order to be able... Because it's just, I guess they were all functionally active. And just wherever the bulk of your party is. So I think they wanted to make it so that way you actually had to activate them. And so that's a thing that exists as a consideration in, like, everything after Prophecies. But Prophecies is weird. I mean, it's their first one, right? They learned from it. And the weirdness just is maintained. They didn't go back and change it, so... I kind of enjoy that time capsule nature. Well, the Resurrection Shrine is even up the hill a little bit, so... Not that I could tell from this minimap, but yeah, it is. Fascinating. Oh look, more Azure Shadows. I think one of the things with Prophecies in particular is there's way too many, like, every zone has its pop-up mobs. I think they leaned on the mechanic a little too hard in Prophecies. Okay, I'm looking for, I think the last name is, I think it's Thol Thunder Rain, something like that. Certainly not that guy. Which is Black Tracker? Yeah, that's a Necro boss. That's Spiteful Spirit. I do want Spiteful Spirit eventually. It's a good skill. And certainly kind of like my default curses. Elites. But it's not a priority right now for me. I need to play my Necro before it can be. I haven't spent much time on my Necro, which I probably should go back to doing stuff on. Okay, it's further back over there. If it's there, awesome. We will stop there. And if it's not, we will keep going until we find it. Thole Boulder Rain. I think that might actually be the boss. So we're going to go check. I might have just gotten super lucky and just had it be at the earliest possible location, which would be awesome. Give me that giant Slayer's hammer. I need it to slay all these giants around me. What do you mean that's not how it works? Yep, that's my boss. Excellent. I will take that luck. Definitely feel like I might have been a little bit lower energy this stream, but I don't know. That's for you to decide. I just know that I would have liked to have slept more last night, is all. Awesome to have the boss that I want spawn so close. This is guaranteed damage and then an interrupt. So I'm really happy to have that one. It's not like the greatest skill or anything, but it feels very like standard ranger skill. So I'm very happy to have that one. I'm still going to slot barrage back on. And Sign of Capture. Well, that went a little bit faster than I expected. Maybe I'll take a few minutes. Shocking bowstring this time. That defense mod might be worth salvaging off, actually. I might go see about trying to capture Melander's arrows as well. This one I will do that with. Okay. Just because that I expected that to take a little bit longer. Friend's footprint. So the boss that we'd be looking for from Lander's arrows is Gargash Thornbeard. And it has 10 spawn locations. So there's one kind of to the right and into the woods a little bit that I'll check that one a couple. Yeah, I'll check that one. Well, I was planning on ending on Punishing Shot, but since things went so smoothly with actually getting it, maybe we can do an additional elite as a treat. As a treat. I can smell supper though, it's making me hungry. Okay, so there's basically like 2 spawn locations out here in the woods area where they're felling logs. I know I'm kind of ignoring my party being attacked. Looks like we might not have gotten the spawn here. Let's just clean up this group. With how much these guys are spread out, barrage is definitely plus 20 damage to your attacks. So I imagine they've all spawned, and it's more a matter of covering the map thoroughly enough to check all of the spawn locations. So there's one other one out here that is kind of like way out here. Looks like it's like way out there. Just for the sake of thoroughness, so I don't have to come back here if it is out here. It's just gonna go out this way. Okay, it's a good idea for our party not to stand in that. Mine freeze is a problem and a half, but deal withable. Okay. Okay, that's Flint Flesh Cleaver. We don't care about that boss, but it's good to have checked. There's another couple up this way. Yeah. Looks like they're pretty close spawn locations over there. So it looks like we did not get... So there's a spawn location here that looks like we didn't get, but there should be... Let me just double... Actually, let me keep moving. I don't want to... Actually, I need to wait for that hero to catch up. Okay. It is the outside edge around here. This curves around, so... We're just going to fight some Stone Summit over here and make our way over there. Disrupting Chop is effective at what it's supposed to do. Because it's this disrupting property, or the disabled property, it's pretty strong, actually. Oh man, just barely caught Mark protection. That's good. Glad to have done that. Going to these areas with this higher level enemies definitely makes me feel like my damage is falling off. And I suppose it is a little bit, but what you gonna do about it? Part of it is all of these warriors that I'm fighting that are pretty tanky. It looks like right up in there, there's a couple of boss spawn points. Thornbeard. Again, who we're looking for. It's probably a ranger. Melandria's arrows bleeds, so... I don't know why sometimes it brings up the skill is still recharging and other times it doesn't. Like, I can be mashing... Well, okay, that's invalid attack target, and I know why it's propping that one up. Enemy's dead, yo. Can't attack him. Lonnie will end those minions if she starts attacking him. Okay, I see Shadestone up there. So one of the bosses is over there. Okay, Thornbeard over there. I see him. Okay, cool. We'll go capture that boss and wrap up there. Soon thereafter, I should say. Probably going to capture Offering of Blood on my Monk, not my Necromancer. I want it on my Necro eventually, but it's just, I think of it as a skill used by Monks more than a skill used by Necromancers. Just the effect is much more useful on Monk. The effect being trading health for energy. Necromancers have something called Soul Reaping, which makes it less good on them. Classic Boon Prot uses Offering of Blood, so... Of course, then you need to heal yourself, but it is what it is. It's also offering a spirit, which is just worse because it costs 5 energy, but it has a chance to not cost health, which is arguably strong. These guys do have a chance to drop their greens. That was one of the big things that Saros Furnace introduced. Green weapons did not exist in the game until Saros Furnace expansion. I have captured Melandru's arrows. We'll kill this guy, see if he drops his green. I mean, he's here. We got the double spawn. Funny way of saying double. Okay, he did not. Okay, collect my loot. All right, well, we got a bonus Melandru's arrows, and we're ending about when I wanted to, which is good. And drop us back in Drockner's Forge, because that's probably where we'll head from next. Let's just salvage that. Probably need tanned hide anyway. Can never have enough tanned hide. Yeah, just to, you're my lucky charm, right, Raw? Is that a guild of runners? Hang on. Inventories. Running for tips. That's actually... Uber being the name of a guild of runners is actually kind of clever. I'll give them clever points for that. Wow, that was a lot of skills I just got. I want to do a review. Little druid stuff. I actually kind of like regular druid armor. All right, so let's see. I got a bunch of regular skills. I also got Punishing Shot, Marksman's Wager, Poison Arrow, and Melandru's Resilience, and Melandru's Arrows. Punishing Shot. Plus a lot of progress. So yeah, that was a pretty good one. I'm happy with that. I am happy with that. Well, that's going to go ahead and wrap up this stream. So thank you all very much for watching. And until next time, everyone, take care and goodbye.